Do you want to build a snowman?
No. I don't like snow.
This Christmas feels like the very first... I'm skipping Thanksgiving and Halloween. I'm just going straight to Christmas. This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas to me. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 16mm Film Crew podcast. This is Cindy here.
This is Jermaine.
AKA
Willem Dafoe.
Wow.
Oh, that was so good.
That was unexpected. And she's the one
I
who
love
gets
it.
mad at-
Will I accept the name this week?
Yeah.
It's alliteration.
And I'm Dale.
Okay. So you can listen to us on iTunes, Google Music, and Spotify at 16mm Film Crew. We're also on YouTube at 16mm Film Crew. Please subscribe and watch the vids.
Watch the vids.
You can also follow us on Twitter at 16mm Crew Podcast and on Instagram at 16mm Crew. Our Joker poster giveaway is still going on, so it's running till Halloween. So you have like a day. Or else I am taking it out. And then we'll give away more posters as, you know, the weeks go on. But yeah, you just need to follow us and comment on one of our latest posts. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Okay, cool. So we all watched Parasite and The Lighthouse, two art house films. I don't know if they're A24. I know one of them is. Not sure if Parasite is. But things happened. So we're going to talk about that. Let's start with Parasite. Directed by Boon Hong-jo, I believe.
Yes.
Yes. Amazing. Thoughts?
It was good.
Okay. Nobody was saying anything. And I was like,
Dale froze.
I was trying to process
hello.
my thoughts.
Hello.
I was trying to process my thoughts. No, I liked it. It was better than I expected it to be.
Well,
I already
first.
I already expected it good. I already had high expectations, but it exceeded it. I was kind of curious to where the whole name.
Wait a second. This doesn't happen very
This
often.
never happens.
Woo, it's a situation.
This is a
lit podcast right now.
crew podcast first.
Well, I was waiting for the whole twist and when the phrase "parasite" came in based on the trailer, and I was pleasantly surprised.
Mm-hmm.
So
It was very good.
That's it.
Just a lot of the decisions had to be made while they were filming with camera movements as well as the storyline. The storyline was very simple to me, but it was executed well. It was easy to follow. There weren't many twists. Well, there were twists, but they're kind of...
it wasn't a twist you were expecting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I very much enjoyed it. Everyone was saying how great this movie was, and it was like Rotten Tomatoes score was like 99%. Like it was, everyone was going like hype over this movie, and I was like, you know what? I'm pretty sure I'm gonna enjoy it because I really did like Snowpiercer, his other film. So I was like, ooh, this is gonna be good. And this was my first foreign film that actually like went to the movie theaters to watch. So I usually don't like foreign films because I kind of get distracted trying to read the subtitles and then also focus on what's going on. But that didn't happen at all during this movie. Like I was so like clicked in. It was so funny. I don't know. I mean, it was like funny and sad, but I loved how much I laughed during this movie. I was just like, wow, I wasn't expecting that, which was nice. So maybe we should break this down a little bit. Basically, Parasite is about this family who lives in Korea. They're poor. They're down and out. They're living in like a basement apartment.
Yeah.
And one of the son's friends who goes to university, because he didn't get to go to university, his friend comes and says, hey, you know, I've been tutoring this wealthy Korean family. I'm going off. I'm studying abroad. Why don't you take over my job? And so...
But, okay, we'll double back to that. Continue.
Oh, was there something else I was saying?
No, you can continue.
Oh, okay. And also, like, none of his family members have work. They're all unemployed, just like living in the basement.
Folding pizza boxes.
Yeah. So he's like, okay, well, this is a great opportunity for me to make some money. And then, spoiler alert, systematically gets everyone who works at the house, the wealthy people's house, fired and hires his own family. Like, he gets all of his family hired to work at the same house.
Yeah.
And chaos ensues. That's like the basic premise of it.
It is a basic premise.
Yeah, that's like the basic, like...
So are we going to go into a more spoiler?
Yes, we can
all right.
Right in.
Yeah, the movie, I think the movie to me started going left when in the midst of tutoring the girl, like his friend originally approached him, oh, I don't trust anybody else because I actually like the girl, and when she gets in university, I'll ask her to date me full time. Which, okay, that's honorable. But then homeboy just said, F it, and when the girl kind of said, it was to the point where he got his sister hired as her little brother's art tutor, where they were talking about it, and she was like, yo, you think she's cute? And he was like, nah. He didn't want to say that's my sister because that ruined everything.
Right.
So I guess they were flirting, and then he kissed her, which I thought was messed up because your boy just said, yo, I like this girl. And then for the rest of the movie, they had a relationship, which I was not expecting.
I thought he was doing it to, like, catch her off guard, to make her trust him.
Yeah. But
I think he actually, like...
He actually ended up liking her. Yeah. So, yeah.
I agree with that. See, my thing though, those actions kind of seemed very much like the family. Of course, he's going to steal the girl if the whole family's a bunch of scammers.
Yeah.
I didn't know that at first. At first, I was like, because when he hires his sister and his sister like comes to the house, she like leaves evidence in the car. Yeah. And then they talk about the plan. And I was like, what do you mean the plan? What
is the driver fired? Yeah.
What is a plan? And then you see, and I was like, oh, okay, I like this. I feel like it was a nice like turn on just making your way up, you know.
So so after the brother got in, he talked his mom into hiring his sister as an art teacher, and his dad, she photoshops all his documents, and his dad was like, if conning was a degree, she'd like have a master's or whatever. And then subsequently she gets the driver fired. And how they got the housekeeper fired was so messed up.
That was messed up.
Because she's like allergic to peaches, so there's no peaches in the house, and so they just start flicking peach fuzz. And like the dad meets her at the hospital or doctor's office, and is like, oh, he tells the wife that she has TB, which is, who has TB nowadays? Like,
well,
and that's what they said. They were like, "Aren't sure anyone's gonna believe that?" Like,
but the guy also said, his friend also said the lady was very gullible,
right?
So, and then you saw how gullible. I was expecting her to be as gullible as she was.
Oh, she was just so.
Yeah.
But I think they were starting to say that, like, with so much wealth, like, your guard is, like, you think that everyone is kind of in service to you just in general. So, like even though they faked the documents, it's almost like they didn't even need to, because the guy was like, oh, I'm giving you my recommendation, which means that you'll definitely get in. So, like, that's how they kind of make those connections. It's like,
yeah, what she said,
you're recommended by this person you like?
Type of system.
Yeah, like, that's how they run.
I think she said something to the point of it like, oh, it's because I already know you, I trust you. And so that's how her dad got fired and their dad got hired and the mother got hired later on. Yeah. Which is not something you do after knowing somebody for 2 days.
Right.
Tutoring your child, you know.
Yeah, gullible. Yeah. Just simple. I love how he was like, how do I say it? I'm not trying to be rude, but just go dumb. Like, he didn't say it like that.
he said she was simple.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is kind of worse.
Is it worse? It's nicer than actually saying, you know, other words.
Like, you're a simpleton. I don't know. That's kind of harsh. But I think one of the funniest scenes was when the dad was like, he was trying to convince the mom that the housemaiden, whatever, what is it? The housekeeper, yeah, that she needed to be fired. And he's like practicing the speech in the basement, and then he's like, no, calm down, don't elevate your voice right there, like, make it build or something. It was so funny.
It showed like his son was actually writing all the dialogue, because he's rehearsing it by himself, and everybody just sitting there watching him enamored with it and stuff. I
loved that.
But that also showed, like, in watching those scenes, like, the kids are really on their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like he could have probably got a writing job or something like that if he's there doing all their dialogue.
Right.
Like he had the conversation word for word exactly what she was gonna say. This girl is photoshopping, like she BS some art theory shit she googled and it turned out to be true.
Right.
Like, oh, did your son have an incident like when he was in first grade? And she goes, and later on, all like, so yeah.
I feel like if they actually used their skills to do something like credible,
productive,
you know what I'm saying? Like they would have been amazing. But the thing is, like, it was like they were in such a situation like they didn't have the opportunity to get those kind of know jobs, so they kind of had to.
What this movie was kind of about, just trying to show there's a lack or a problem in humanity as far as the wealth gap.
Right. They did class system and class structure very well in this movie. Like it was a different spin on it, which I enjoyed.
It also said the dad was also, he always bounced around jobs too as well. Right. Yeah. So.
And one of my favorite scenes that really kind of cemented this was after they got caught in the house. Well, they escaped the house. They took a walk back to their place that seemed forever, and the background was slowly changing. It was just showing how far away their world was from the rich people's world was, and how different it was. And they kept going deeper and deeper and deeper, almost like they were getting stuck into
a hole.
Exactly.
Yeah. It reminded me of when Brad Pitt drives home from Leonardo DiCaprio's house in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's like a long shot of him, and you see the scenery change, like from glamour to like gross.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that twist. So I read online that there was like this massive twist. So I was waiting for the massive twist, and then it didn't end up being that massive. It was just like okay.
It wasn't a big twist, but it was kind of unexpected.
Yeah.
Like basically what happened was they found the secret store. The family left on the camping trip for the boy's birthday, and the housekeeper knew that no one was going to be home because she still texts the youngest child. So what happened was she opens the secret passageway, and it turns out her husband was been living there the whole time, which is kind of telling because that lets me know the housekeeper and her husband were kind of in the same situation as the family was. Right. So I'm thinking, they're going to see some kind of commonality and probably let them remain there in the subspace helping them. But it just turns no. The wife, who at this point with a full haircut looks like Alex Bornstein almost.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You get it now. So she's like all like, I'm rich now. I have these nice clothes. Like, no, how dare you? I'm calling the cops. And then stupidly, like the whole family's listening and they fall downstairs and then chaos
just ensues. Yeah. I think the twist for me wasn't actually that part. It was the birthday party. Because I wasn't expecting him to actually kill people. Like I thought they were gonna like make a scene like, haha, I've been underground this entire time, but I didn't know that they were gonna be like knives out, like
I kind of expected
people
it from once
at a birthday party.
Once his wife was dead, I kind of expected him to want revenge.
But he didn't even kill the mom. Who actually like locked him up and tied him up. He killed the daughter.
Yeah, I think because the first person he saw, he only saw the crowd and he knew she was right there.
I was like, ooh.
Yeah,
and then everyone was just like dying, like
and he like started stabbing random people.
Yeah, I felt satisfaction when the dad killed the other dad, the rich dad. Remember that whole like smelling?
I was waiting for that because the first time, the kids like, you guys smell the same, and the whole family decides to change how they wash their clothes and everything. But the only problem with the only person with a problem still is the dad. So,
but that's the thing that I was like, the dad kept saying, he doesn't cross the line, and you have to make sure you don't cross the line. Like there is no matter how like happy the actual family were about getting these new jobs and about having money for the first time in a while, like they were still underclass. Like they're not they were not on the same level as the rich family. And I think the dad was like keyed in to make sure that they knew that they were still below them. And that's how the whole smell thing came in. It was like, like you still stink, even though like you're our workers.
Words were what? Subway or wet rag mixed with Subway.
Yeah.
That was pretty.
I mean, when it happened the first time, when they all stayed in the house when the family was on vacation, you saw like he was just covering his eyes when the husband and wife were on the couch fooling around, but he was saying, "Yeah, this man stinks." And you saw the camera, and you were expecting him to snap and everything go left at that moment, but it never did until
so sad.
The end of the movie, which you know.
That really.
And I think why it happened at the end of the movie more so at that point, his focus is on his daughter, and then the guy's like after that, the creepy old guy escaped and started stabbing people, and I guess their son got
he had like a seizure.
He had a seizure. Yeah, and the son had a seizure, and so he's like, "Oh, let's get in the car, let's go. You need to take us to the hospital." And he was in his head, he's like, "Oh, that's my daughter."
Right.
And then all that conversation about him smelling his stuff, he snapped and killed the guy. So. Yeah. Which
snapped. I think I loved the daughter, the less fortunate daughter. She was great. She's probably my favorite character in the whole movie. Yeah. I love when their whole house is being flooded. She just sits on top of the toilet and smokes a cigarette. And she's just like, whatever.
And the water's just exploding.
I think the crazy thing is that they actually still went to the party the day after, even though they were like displaced, not like they had no home. They still went. I was like, what?
But my thing is though, I don't like.
You guys like.
My thing with that is the wife obviously stays in the main house with the people, so that's fine. But the kids and the husband, they went back home or they went to a shelter. And they come back smelling fresh and clean. But he's still the only person who stinks. So I'm like, yo, what is up with old boy? Like,
honestly, I was thinking they were all gonna stink after that.
But that's what I thought too. Like I was like,
oh, the jig is up. It's all.
We know.
So, but yeah,
that was crazy.
Like the wife just winds down the window, and
I hated her. She was. It's not because there's anything like specifically wrong with her. She was just so dumb that it was just like, girl, please.
She was vapid.
Yeah. Like, get your life together. Does she even know how to take care of her kids? Like, that little kid was so spoiled. She just gave him whatever he wanted.
That's what everybody does with little kids, though.
I'm just like, oh, is that so?
After the first child was the one you kind of try to figure
maybe I'm
everything out.
misremembering my childhood because...
Whoa, hold up, Dale.
I ain't getting none of that.
You would have probably been more spoiled if your parents were like that. Probably.
Okay.
Or maybe it's a racial thing.
I don't think my parents would let me sleep outside in the backyard.
Yeah, they were like, oh, he'll just come in when he feels like I'm like, y'all know you guys are the parents, right? Like, you have the authority to bring him back inside.
What did the dad say? Because they have more money, they're oblivious to those kind of things. They had all these security cameras and blah, blah. Oh, he's fine. He's in the backyard. We have security cameras, whatever.
Stupid.
So.
Anyway. Besides that, this movie was shot so well. Oh, it looked great. There was a scene where they were like on the corner, like at the corner store, and the frame seemed like it was like tilted a bit because that's how the street was. The street was kind of tilted. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Dope. That's all I have to say about that.
And I realized that the family started rubbing off on the son where before he was afraid to tell people stop peeing on their window, and then near the end he just grabs the rock and he's like, I'm about to bash his head in, and he gets that confidence, I guess. So, but yeah, I feel bad that the daughter died though.
Yeah, I really wish she didn't die. Yeah. She was my favorite character. I was just like, no. But I was gonna
say the ending did drag well a bit.
That was my only thing. Like, this movie would have been like a 10 out of 10 for me if not for the ending. The ending dragged.
I'm still giving it 10 out of 10
so much. But we also were trying to see a different movie, so that's why it felt longer. But like, it also was a long ending.
I enjoyed the ending. I thought it was appropriate. I thought it should have ended when they saw the dad come upstairs and they gave him a hug, but then it goes into a little twist that's his fantasy, which is a throwback to early in the movie, and I thought that was very creative.
Yeah. And
it ended very quickly after that. So I was pretty happy with the ending.
I wish they couldn't just wrapped it up. But yeah, like it was cute how like he did the whole Morse code thing to interact with his son or whatever.
Yeah, he learned Morse code, yeah.
That was very cool. I also love how everyone called each other sis in that movie. That had me weak. I was crying. She was like, sis. I was like, did this guy write this? Like, I was so shook. Anyway.
So are we doing 1 out of 10 or out of 10 or out of 5 for this movie?
I always do mine's out of 10, so y'all can do.
All right. So you want to go first?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm still probably going to give it a 10 out of 10. It's probably going to win the Oscars for our foreign selection.
Yeah, probably.
It might not. I feel like it should be best movie, one of the best movie candidates, but it's probably not going to be.
We'll see how things roll on.
But I know it's probably going to win the foreign selection though. So yeah,
I'm giving it a 9 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like some scenes would have dragged if there wasn't dialogue to read. But because I was reading dialogue, I was thoroughly entertained. Everything was. I didn't find many holes in the story, so
yeah,
this gets a high score for me.
I thought it was really refreshing, and it was a unique way to tell like something that we're all dealing with, especially in this country, but I guess all around the world. I thought it was really good. Good script, looks great performances. So I'm giving it a 9.7 out of 10.
Next up is The Lighthouse.
The Lighthouse.
Lighthouse.
The Lighthouse.
I really want to know what your thoughts are on it before I say anything.
I was actually surprised you paid attention to it because I assumed your issue with black and white movies was it being black and white, but you were paying more attention to the movie than I was.
Yeah.
I mean, at a certain point in the movie, I was more interested in
He was on his phone, guys.
I was still paying attention, but I was like, because so the background on The Lighthouse. The Lighthouse deals with a lot of sailor myths and old wives' tales, and I'm not understanding the subtext. So I'm there as I'm watching. I'm half engaged, with my phone, and I'm looking up, what X, Y, and Z mean in the movie, so I understand why they're having that issue better.
So The Lighthouse.
I got a mixed bag about it. I think.
Okay.
I don't know if I'd watch it again.
Yeah, no.
But when I watched it, it was entertaining. And I was trying to figure out what was going on in it. So I'll leave the description up to you. You want to go ahead and...
So The Lighthouse was directed by Robert
Eggers.
Yes. He directed The Witch. Didn't see that movie, but heard good things about it.
Does he make eggs?
No. I don't know. I actually wasn't paying attention to the question when you asked it. Starring Willem Dafoe and my boo, Robert Pattinson. It's black and white. It's 4:3 aspect ratio?
Yeah, 4:3.
It looks so good. That's just how I'm just gonna start off right there. It looks amazing. The thing about black and white for me is like I don't like it unless it feels like it's important to the story, like it's a storytelling device. That's the only reason why I feel like you should use black and white. And it worked because like I feel like even if this was in color, it would look pretty much the same, dark, cold, and horrible. So the black and white definitely worked for the advantage.
That choice, because this is a remake. The original one came out in 2016, British film. So it being a remake, they also decided to put some originality on it where they made it black and white, because in the movies in that era were black and white, but it fit thematically with the story of isolation and being closed off. So the aspect ratio and the color choice of being black and white really fit the story perfectly to amplify those emotions that they were having.
Yeah, definitely. You guys can jump in and say whatever you thought about it.
Yeah, I enjoyed the movie. Like William Dafoe, amazing.
Willem Dafoe.
He's definitely getting an Oscar.
He's getting an Oscar now for that. Like his accent was spot on. Everything was
the best.
Top notch. Perfect. Robert Pattinson. We've always known Robert Pattinson was a good actor. Outside of the Twilight movies, even he himself has said those are bad movies. My only issue with him was that accent. That accent was horrible.
It was in and out.
It wasn't in and out. It was like in college, me and my friends would make these Boston accents. Like, we're gonna park the car over the yard. Like, that's what his accent sounded like to me, and I didn't enjoy it at all.
To me, some parts it was strong, some parts he was just speaking like him.
Yeah, I
Like
Or with an American
you never
accent.
let me go into the lantern and see the light. Other lighthouse masters and let the number 2 go up there. Why can't I go up there? I gotta know.
you
Why
sound
won't you let me?
Caribbean accents coming out. Actually,
I know. But
That's
hey,
not what happened
That's
in
not
the
what
movie,
happened in
by
the
the way.
movie. But hey, but I guess those accents, they tried to emulate those accents because it's supposed to be a northeastern setting.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's my only down part is the accent. And then we were speaking about it before. They said they did stuff for the sake of doing stuff because actors were down for everything. Like Robert Pattinson, like half naked, like.
Could we just? Okay,
Yeah.
wait. Let's do the positives first.
Let's do the
Kind of.
positives. Let's do the positives first.
The performances were fantastic. I think that when you're doing a movie where when there's a very limited amount of characters in it, like
Mhm.
it has to be strong, or else your whole thing is going down the tubes. So the fact that Rob and Willem worked really well off of each other, and that dynamic, that kind of not father son, but almost like I can't even describe what the dynamic was.
Antagonistic, like
Yeah.
yeah.
You had this bipolar character of Willem Dafoe who was like, sometimes he was cool, sometimes he was just like outrageous and insane. And then Rob, who was just like pretty much a straight man at the beginning, slowly losing his mind as the movie went on.
Yeah.
I was
But
like,
he was
whoa.
calm, quiet, and a little secretive.
Yeah.
I knew he was hiding something.
And then things just unfolded. Like,
I didn't know he was hiding something until the part with the octopus. Yeah.
So performance is great. Oh, it looks great. I think it was, for me, it was hard to understand what they were saying because the accents were so like, I was like, what is this accent? And then it's old. I don't know if it's not even old English. It's like it's like a very specific type of dialect that they're
1800s, northeastern kind of.
couldn't understand most of what they were saying. I was like, if a movie needs subtitles, this movie needs subtitles. Because I was like, what are you guys even saying? Like, it took me a minute to adjust to like the language.
It did for a little while.
I was like, what? What are you saying now? But
It was executed well.
oh, so well directed,
And
so well acted.
Actually,
Looked fantastic.
the parts
guys.
that I did understand were excellent.
Yeah.
The writing on this movie was
Perfect.
it was spot on.
And I think the pacing was really good too. Like, you never felt like you were like, oh God, like, because every time something would like start to lag, something crazy would happen, and you were like, whoa, okay, wait, what?
Like what? When they're at the dinner table, it went from the first dinner table scene, he just slapped him out of nowhere.
He slapped him in the car, and I was like, whoa, okay.
And then the next one, they start drinking. And then the next one, they start dancing.
And it was just insane. It was insanity.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like I was losing my mind too. I was like, what is going on? I don't know. I don't even think there was like a plot. I think it was just like people just going insane. Like, that's the movie.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. Now to the negatives. Like, to the major negatives. For me, I felt like, and it was funny because we were leaving the theater and some guy ahead of us said the exact same thing I was thinking. It was sexual in a way that I didn't think it needed to be. I feel like sexuality is one of those things in movies that it's just like, people always say that there's like a purpose for it. But then when you watch it, you're like, was it really a purpose, or were you just being kind of a creep and wanted to just show
Right. You just
nasty
wanted
stuff?
to show Robert Pattinson basically naked.
Well,
Having sex.
here's the thing, though.
With the mermaid.
That
You know what a
those
mermaid is?
scenes-
It's a fish. Okay, guys? It's a fish.
Those
Let's
scenes.
go even deeper. It's not even real.
And not even real.
It's not even real.
And the thing is like, I watched interviews before I watched this movie. That's why I was saying I was kind of like prepared. He did mention something about the masturbation scenes, and he mentioned something else about like the mermaid's vagina. And I was like, what?
Here's the thing, though. I was like,
Oh.
the masturbation scenes in context, looking back, they kind of do make sense. Like, I think
the first one did.
We didn't
With-
need
I'm not
more than one.
which the first
right,
one with,
and that's my point. Did we need more than one?
I mean, the first one with William Dafoe.
I think two were not.
What?
I think two of them were good.
Yeah, one in. Okay, there's
What
a
are you
scene
talking
where
about?
William Dafoe, you don't see him do it, but it's implied that he does it because you kind of see the ejaculate go through the.
Oh, that's why you were like, Is that why you were making
Yeah.
those sounds? In the
Yeah.
I didn't know what that was. So I didn't know
it
what was happening.
implied like that.
It
But
was
like,
implied that I was doing it.
yeah.
But there was
Oh.
also a tentacle up there. So you
But that's Robert like going crazy. So
That second scene where he is like I think he like drinks. They weren't even drinking alcohol. They were drinking like nitrous or
the kerosene for the
kerosene. And he was just like out of his mind, like spaced out, like. And I was just like, this is too much for me.
Well,
like it's just too.
It
much
makes it to me. It kind of it. I understood the point of it because it's like back in college, you know, where niggas will just beat their meat randomly, like you know.
Like, he's like,
not me personally,
do I know?
But if you had a roommate, like in college, when in college we had somebody in our dorm, in our room, like we all knew, like this nigga is shying for far too long. Like everybody knew.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wait, why did you guys pay attention to that?
Because everybody got a shower. We were like, this man's showering too frequently.
Oh, you're saying that he was in the shower too long, so you just assumed that he was.
Well, and the frequency of it, him going to the shower. So we're like, okay, yeah. So I understood that point, the whole isolation.
Poor young man.
The whole isolation, you know, people going crazy. And he's there for a month, ain't seen no woman. He gonna beat his meat to his little mermaid statue, I guess. I don't know.
Which, okay, fine for the first one. And then the second one where it was like mixed with, he didn't know if he was having sex with a mermaid or Willem Dafoe or like an octopus next.
Yeah, that was weird.
I said, what? That's the point where I was just like, yeah, y'all are you're doing a lot.
What's with the octopus?
You're doing a whole lot. Like, just chill out. Like, I wasn't okay with it. Because I just felt like it was just so excessive. Like, it didn't need to be there. And it was kind of a turnoff, like, for me. And I love Rob.
You didn't like seeing Rob's butt the whole time?
I think I've seen his butt in another movie. So I think I'm... Listen, he's naked in a lot of movies and he masturbates in a lot of movies too. He mentioned that in an interview. And I was like,
sounds like his specialty.
Yeah, it sounds like his thing.
His Axis agent.
Watch out, Batman.
Yeah, Batman. Oh my God.
What is that, bat guano?
Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow. That just went left really fast. That got
so real. Anyways, let's fly by that. I thought his accent, like Jermaine said, was in and out for me. It kind of sounded like his accent in Good Time. Like that New York accent mixed with the accent that this is supposed to be in. I applaud him for even having it be strong for some of it because he's obviously not from here. He's from England. So the fact that he could do that is, I don't know, that's a little admirable. Admirable.
I give him credit.
Impressive.
It was very impressive.
There we go.
Yes, thank you.
I'll give him credit for that.
I give him credit for that, you know?
I guess so.
Hoping he gets that supporting actor knob.
Was he supporting actor? They were both double billed as leads, though.
But you know, one of them has to be.
Yeah, one of them has to be.
One of them has to be in it.
And I guess because he's kind of the protagonist, he's probably lead actor. But like, there's I know we didn't talk about the ending.
No, we didn't. Let's talk about the ending.
The movie kind of ends with after they meet at the lighthouse, slowly, and they're kind of adversarial to each other. You know, eating dinner to slap each other and whatever. But as the story progresses, you know, William Dafoe's character doesn't want to do any manual labor because there's a younger body there, which makes sense with any older person. And for some reason, I find weird, Robert Pattinson's mad at that whole thing. It's kind of obvious it was going to happen. I don't know why he was surprised.
It makes sense that he was mad because the old man was kind of pushing him. Especially that scene where he was painting the lighthouse. Told him to go slow, and then he dropped him for what, like 20 feet? The man passed out and woke up in the same spot. I mean, he could have at least brought him inside.
Nah. But yeah, so as a movie, they're adversarial. So that was going to happen. And the only time you see them having common grounds when they're drunk, which that's what alcohol does, makes everybody friends. And then, so the scene we were talking about, there he goes to the lighthouse, the lantern part of the lighthouse at night because he forgot cigarettes. And he sees, he hears William Dafoe pleasuring himself. Got to keep it PG. Pleasuring himself. Then you see...
Is this PG? I feel like it went.
Okay. Well, then you see the bodily fluids drip down, whatever. Bodily fluids drip down. And then, and then the first sequence you see of Robert Pattinson losing his mind is when he sees the octopus up there. And then it progresses. The storm comes. He can't leave the island. And which I thought was weird because they say, how long have we been here? I've told you over and over again to ration our food, and you're like, you don't care. So
well, I think he gets him drunk.
Yeah.
To the point where he actually misses the boat that comes. And then by the time that they try to be out there, the storm is coming. So it's like he can't even leave.
Yeah. But the fact that they said, how long have we been in this island? I told you to ration the food. He was like, I don't know how long we've been here. Because I told you over again, we need to ration our food. So it could have been actual. He says like, we've been here like 5 months or 2 days. We don't know.
Right.
So I mean, obviously it wasn't 2 days, but yeah.
It was 2 days. But yeah. And then from then, the movie goes left. And Robert Pattinson decides to escape. William Dafoe destroys his boat and says, oh, I'll tell these people that you destroyed the boat of me escaping and then you attacked me. And then Robert Pattinson beat the crap out of him and goes to see the lantern he's always wanted to see. And
he goes to see the light.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like Willem was really protective over the light because I think he has some type of spiritual connection with whatever was inside of it. And you never see what's inside of the light. I think it's like whatever your imagination tells you is inside of it. That's how they kind of understand it. But he was such a Scrooge over it. And it's like, when you tell someone not to do something, all that's going to make them want to do is do it more. So he was stupid for that. Yeah. Real done.
To me, it had like it seemed like it had a spiritual aspect. Yeah. But at the end, when I thought about it, it was more of the king of the hill, who wants to be on top. And then you see how far they have to fall once they get on top. Yeah.
So that's what I was saying about these movies kind of being similar, both Lighthouse and Parasite, of like people just thinking that like, okay, well, if I just get this, then I'll be happy. Or then I'll be fulfilled, or then I'll feel powerful, or whatever. And then what happens is, like, the grass isn't always greener. You get to the other side and realize, oh, okay, wait, there's a lot more issues here than I expected there to be. I mean, the fact that Rob lost his mind just to see the light, and then he ends up, dead? Being picked at by pelicans?
That like, I thought, I think to me that was amazing foreshadowing. Because the whole movie,
so good.
He's being taunted by
what are they, seagulls?
A seagull with one eye, and then he finally snaps when he sees the seagull and beats the life out of that seagull. So I thought it was good foreshadowing that the end of the movie. And I think there was also the sailor myth was the spirits of seagulls are tied to sailors, and I guess that was his spirit. And at the end of the movie, you see him with one eye and his guts are out. At the end, basically the same thing he did to Seagull, which I was not expecting that in particular to happen at all.
I was like, wow, and it was so visually striking, just like the birds pecking at his intestines. So I was like, ugh. That movie was so gross. It just made, it was just so, because you know when you like get caught in the rain and then you have to go home and all your clothes are like soggy and wet and you stink because you smell like outside. Like that's how I felt like.
Smell like outside.
They were like, did they even take showers during this, like, or a bath during these times? Like they were covered in mud and dirt and vomit and booze and just, I was itching during the entire thing. I was like, oh my God, can these people please take a shower or a bath? Like I was just like, why are you guys so gross? He was handling feces and it was just
oh yeah
he was shoveling the outhouse. Yeah,
just made me want to barf. It was so gross.
I'm not gonna lie, I did enjoy the movie, but I wasn't a fan of those scenes for the sake of doing stuff scenes. Like I thought they were unnecessary to the story. Like they didn't really have to be there because the story is about people losing their mind and going crazy. You could have just left it with the octopuses he's constantly seeing, but I guess the isolation, they kind of had to show him wanting to have sex with a mermaid, which I guess is okay, but
that was so uncomfortable. Like
the only time it didn't make sense is when he's fighting William Dafoe. Like, why in that moment do you think having sex with a mermaid? I don't understand that.
But there was, I think they tried to tease that. Like, when they were drunk and dancing, they got super close to each other's faces. I think there was, like, a sexual tension between them, which is weird. Like, I wasn't thinking about that being, like, a thing, but...
It's kind of like the little jailhouse theory. You're in a box with another guy and there are no women around and you're just desperate. So
I likes it.
But also,
I wants you.
I like the old fashioned fisticuffs though. That was good.
Yeah. That was funny.
Oh,
He's like,
the old timey
up.
boxing.
But I also feel like violence sometimes plays a role in sexual, whatever, however you want to frame it. So I guess it made sense for it to be like intertwined in that montage of him, like, yeah. He also killed someone. Did you know that?
Yeah,
that was what he was hiding. Yeah.
Like it. He said he killed the guy before Robert Pattinson's character, so that lets me know that the lightkeeper, William Dafoe's character, is not all the way insane himself. He's more insane than Yeah.
So I guess they were both losing their minds equally,
but he hit it better.
He was just like, "This is who I am. I'm horrible. Get over it. Tired of your thoughts."
What was it when he was harassing him over you don't like my food?
Oh my gosh, that was the funniest thing ever. This movie was so funny.
Like, I hope Poseidon comes down and rains.
He went on this huge diatribe of him just being angry that he didn't like his lobster. Like,
I like that word, diatribe. I'm gonna use it one day.
He went off.
He's like, okay, I liked your clam chowder.
I like your cooking.
How about your way? I like your food.
I like that this movie was funny because it was so serious in some parts, but then they got like the tension relievers placed throughout it. And like the director Robert Eggers, right? Yeah, he said that this doesn't really have a genre. People have like labeled it horror, but while I was watching it, I wasn't scared, so I wasn't like.
It was not scary. It's just kind of off-putting.
It's not a horror. It's disturbing for sure. But horror, nah. I feel like he likes to like play around with different types of genres and make his own.
I view it in the same. I think Parasite and Lighthouse were marketed by these people as two different genres. But to me, they kind of did fit that same.
There was like a through line that I kind of connected.
Yeah. So
like these really tense situations with these moments of levity. Yeah. Yeah. I never know if I'm actually saying the words right. Like I know words, but then I actually have to say them, and I'm like,
exude confidence.
I'm like, is that the right word? Is it? Because you don't want to say something and then it sounds stupid.
You gotta exude confidence, and everybody's like, that sounds correct. So, just roll with it.
Because if I was watching it, I would be like,
yeah,
girl, you don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, so ratings. How are we rating these films? Or Lighthouse?
I give it a 7 out of 10. Just because the writing was excellent. It was filmed very well. It was a good story. I wouldn't see it again.
No, this is not something you watch.
And to me, I liked it more after I slept on it because as soon as I got out of the movie theater, I was kind of pissed and I'm like, what did I just watch?
Yeah.
But then I think about it and I'm like, you know what? That wasn't all that bad.
I don't know. I think the cinematography, that aesthetic choice of the whole black and white, that I feel like those help to sell the story. I don't know. I can't say the writing was good or not because it is a remake. So I don't know how much they borrowed from the original movie until I see the original, So I can only, based on the acting, the interaction between the two characters and the cinematography, I'll probably give it 8 out of 10. Until I see the original, I don't want to give too much credence.
8 out of 10 is a pretty good score.
Yeah, I mean, it could if it was an original movie, I'd probably give it a 10. But knowing the fact that it was a remake of a movie that was already made, there's less effort. It's not as hard to make a good movie, knowing you're just reshooting or redoing somebody else's property. So,
I wonder if they're similar in any type of way. Maybe they did like something completely left.
Yeah, that's why I'll probably watch it this weekend, the original version. So.
Yeah, I had to sleep on it because I left and I was like, oh, my brain feels like it's just been violated. I'm not really sure like how I feel about this movie. But I think I would give it like a solid like 8.5 out of 10. I like the points.
8.5 out of 10.
Yeah,
okay.
8.5 out of 10. Okay. So moving on to other news.
D&D's no good, terrible, horrible week.
Yes. Dan David,
Dungeons and Dragons,
showrunners of Game of Thrones, are no longer making Star Wars.
Yeah. They cited scheduling issues to do Star Wars. after Netflix gave them what, 300 million
a buttload of money, as we said,
for their original property. I don't feel bad for them at all, and I think, to me, going back, because this week started before with them at a film festival writers conference. A lot of writers conference, but
yes,
they made an appearance at a writers room, and just people were live tweeting what they were saying on how the production of Game of Thrones went. And from all that information being publicly known and even being verified by other publications that were there, like, the fan reaction to them just went the opposite way, because people were already still bitter about the last season, and then they're finding out, oh yeah, we were running the show and it's our first time, but we didn't really know how to do anything. Like, we didn't trust your art department, didn't trust any of those people. And even saying the writers' room is the same 4 writers there, and saying you didn't really care about knowing about the characters and all this other stuff, really turned public opinion to them to the left field. And so I'm not surprised they're not involved with Star Wars. Me personally, is my conspiracy theory that is Kathleen Kennedy in charge of Star Wars or Disney. I think she gave them the option, like, look, you can bow out gracefully, or we can just say, you're fired, pick your poison. And I think they picked the schedule and conflict thing. So, yeah.
I don't like them.
She doesn't like them.
She doesn't like them at all.
For so many reasons. Season 8 was a huge part of that. But also, this was so... I don't know. This is so fitting, so poetic justice-y. The fact that they don't get to do this anymore because they rushed Game of Thrones
for Star Wars.
So. And they can lie and be like, "No, we did it," and all the cast can be like, "No, they didn't. They cared so much." Can I tell you how much I can't stand this cast anymore? The whole cast were just like, the media's out to get us, and they're the ones who are planting these terrible stories about us and about season 8.
I told you, they don't want to burn that bridge.
David and Dan, they love the show, and they're our best friend. Emilia Clarke was like, they're my friends, so it's heartbreaking for me to see them being treated like, girl.
She doesn't want to burn that bridge in case they get another project. She wants to know she can be cast in something.
First in line.
Girl,
yeah, hey,
please move to the side. Like, my issue with them, it's not even like, I don't even want to go back and deal with all the stuff that they did wrong in season 8. But just the fact that their attitude is so blasé and so dismissive of the audience and like the value that the audience gives to that show. If not for the audience, they would have no season 2, 3, 4, or 8 of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
The viewers are what made the show. Like, so for the fact that their whole attitude, even in that whole discussion where they were just like, we didn't know what we were doing. We were just doing whatever. Like, and you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so, they were just like, oh, we don't care about what you guys think. We're going to do what we want to do. And if you have a problem with that, oh, well, because we already have the money. We already have the Emmys. We already have the acknowledgement. We have everything that we want. So if you don't like it, too bad. So I'm really glad they're not doing Star Wars. I don't feel like they don't deserve it. I don't feel like they wouldn't respect the source material. They wouldn't respect anything. They would just be doing it to make themselves look cooler. And I'm over them. They are canceled.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Like, I was reading, what was I reading? They said, which I'm not surprised. These are things they said because if you look at their career prior to Game of Thrones, I think we talked about it before.
Yeah, we did a little bit.
That they had no experience actually running or production. They mostly came in and either adapted material and somebody else tweaked it, and that was it. Like, they said Game of Thrones was an expensive film school for them. Like, to hear that and know you're working in Hollywood, like, you didn't, like, that's a big thing, because I would love for the opportunity they had to learn on the fly while getting paid millions of dollars to figure stuff out. Like, what? So, and they said they were short on scenes, and how they learned the characters was just making extra scenes, and that's how they got to know the characters, because they didn't want to really use the source material that much, which I find off-putting, because these are guys who've whole career have just adapted other people's properties, but you don't want to follow source material. I can understand the last season.
And the source material is probably better than actual writing, so let's not do that.
I would have given them, I would have been okay with it if they said, oh, last season we kind of had to create. That's fine. But the other 9 seasons, like, and I feel bad for you because I know you're more invested in this line, man. I didn't watch it.
Invested.
I'm more mad at their whole the whole production
That's
stuff.
exactly why I'm upset.
So, yeah.
I'm upset because it's like just a total disregard for everyone else who wasn't a part of their experience making it. Like, they looked out for the actors, they looked out for the people in production, they looked out for their people, but everyone else, the actual audience who were watching the seasons, they were like the last thing on their minds. And I think that's really crazy. And it's evident in how season 7 and season 8 came out. Mm-hmm. Because the thing is even, okay, let's just say they had to do Star Wars and they were like, okay, we can't do it anymore. Get some other people who can do it. Like, why couldn't they just release the control, let Game of Thrones run for at least 10 seasons would have been perfect for what they needed to do. Even George was like, yeah, it could have gone on more seasons. HBO was like, yeah, go on more seasons. And they were like, no, we're going to not do that. Because we have other things to do. And
even watching the last season is the only season I really watched, you could tell the pacing was really rushed. We just got to...
You can tell them they didn't
We just got to get
like,
Daenerys to this point. And that was the whole story. Like, we have to expedite it as fast as possible.
Let's do it in 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And if your actors are like, wait, actually, hi, I don't know about this ending. And for them to just be like, whatever.
And they said it before, like, and the only person who kind of didn't want to say they didn't like the ending was Emilia Clarke. Because, like, I think one interview...
But it was kind of evident that she didn't.
Yeah, one interview, it was her, the guy who plays, one of the Unsullied, the main guy.
Oh, Jacob Anderson.
Yeah, Jacob Anderson. And her,
Natalia.
Natalia, yeah. I was going to use her character's name. Natalia Emmanuel. What's up, though?
Hey, ain't she a quarter?
Hey, you're on the quarter. I don't care. But anyway, like, it was all 3 of them in an interview, and like, oh, how do you think the end of the show was? And you see all of them go, and me automatically goes, oh, it was wonderful, it was great, and yeah.
But that's the thing. Everyone was like, so before the show premiered, all the interviews were just like, everyone was like, oh, so what should we expect from this last season? Mm-hmm. And they were like, oh, I don't know. I don't know how, like, if that's your response, your response is, oh,
right.
That's not good. That's not good for us about to watch it, because we don't know what that means. Like, if you were like, oh, it's going to be so sick, it's going to be crazy, it's going to be blah, blah.
Because we're thinking, oh, everybody's going to die. And then, no, it's just bad.
It's just like, ooh, like, yikes. And my real issue was that no one, after it was premiered, everyone went into defense mode. Mm-hmm. No one was like, you know what, what you're saying is valid. Everybody was just like, no, actually, the media was the people who are making these really terrible stories, and it's just like,
especially Nikolai Coster-Waldau.
Why are y'all defending things when you know your ending could have been better? Yeah. If I were you, I would have been actually more upset than us, because come on, like, you've been living with these characters for 10 years. Like, I would be pissed off if I was one of those actors. And that's my thing. I feel like they're upset that people wanted to do positions to start it over or whatever. And David and Dan didn't even show up to Comic-Con to even answer the questions.
Mm-hmm. Which is surprising that they showed up to this small thing. Yeah. So,
and it's just like,
show up at some point.
Yeah.
You're asking, when you start something, you're asking the audience to take a journey with you, and you have to respect them enough to give them a good and satisfying finish. Will everyone agree with what you're doing? No. Will it be satisfying to everyone? Maybe not. But you need to try.
And the thing, the excuse of scheduling is kind of weak, because what J.J. Abrams, he started the first Star Wars movie, Force Awakens. Then he's like, oh, I still have to do these Star Trek movies. He did Star Trek, let somebody else take over the second Star Wars movie, came back for the third one. So that scheduling conflict thing is BS, because you can probably sit down, okay, the next Star Wars trilogy is not going to go into production until like X amount of years. You guys are fine. You guys can still do your Netflix stuff. And then when time is then in your spare time,
but that's their answer for everything. Yeah. They said scheduling problems and they didn't go to Comic-Con.
Yeah.
So it's a cop-out. It's like, things didn't go our way, so you know what?
Feel like
screw those guys, man. I don't care about them no more.
Too. Yeah. Why else would the cast be like defend the work that they did that they're trying to ditch?
Because you're never going to hear actors criticize. Like, if anything negative goes in the news about Quentin Tarantino, the first one to pipe up is Sam Jackson, because every major director, writer, or producer has his people, and with them being what a lot of people in Game of Thrones, that was their first big major role. So you don't want to burn that bridge between these guys, because the success Game of Thrones had, you don't want to lose an opportunity with them ever again. So
that was their first major role too.
Yeah.
And they lost their second one.
I mean, they still got the Netflix money though, so we'll see how that goes.
I'm so over them.
So,
when they first of all, when they were like, "Oh, we're making a show about the Confederacy," I said, "You guys are canceled." Like I just feel like they're so like unaware of what's actually going on, and they're just like making decisions based on how they feel, and I'm over it. I'm over their blaseness. I'm over their cockiness. They can just go screw off.
Willem Dafoe says, "Damn you."
Damn you. Okay, moving also about Game of Thrones. The Game of Thrones prequel by HBO is canceled.
The first one, I think it was called
Blood Moon or something with Naomi Watts.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I guess I was shocked because I was like, that whole pilot is filmed. Like,
yeah, it
people
was
spent their time doing that.
That wasn't that supposed to be the whole the Night King prequel thing?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they were just like, no, we're done.
I can understand why though. I wouldn't have even greenlit it in the first place because the way these two idiots ended the season with the actual Night King, it was very anticlimactic. So I'm not want to put the effort into actually watching the origin, knowing damn well that his ending is just trash. So, but they did pick up the other one, House of Targaryen,
which is good because it's set way, way, way back, and that's a world that hasn't really been explored yet.
George R.R. Martin's involved in the writing of that, so
yeah,
it will be good. I'm excited for that.
Okay. That one sounds good.
More Game of Thrones. Yeah,
so yeah, that last book ain't happening. So
I feel bad for them because imagine like you worked on something and then you get an email like, "Oh, by the way, we're not picking up your show,
but we're gonna pick up the other one."
I would have been like, "Oh, okay."
So
you had to hurt my feelings like that. So.
Yeah,
but yeah, so
stay true to your craft.
Boo.
Yeah.
Okay, so are we doing these the crew reviews?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, fine. Let's do that.
We can. So I watched a show called Netflix show called Daybreak. It's basically a zombie apocalypse happening where all the adults either die or become zombies. You'd think a concept like that would be amazingly well done, but I think my issue with the show is it's too heavy-handed in those tropes. Like the character is a Mary Sue where he's rich and he says, "Oh, I can do this. I know how to change water," but you don't see those interactions. And his whole goal in the first, well, from what I saw so far, after I got sick of it, was his whole goal was just to go save this girl that he liked. And that was it. Like, oh, she likes to go to malls, so she has to be at the mall. Like, it was very bad. Like, to me, he comes off almost as like Zach Morris because they do all those fourth wall breaks, whereas like he stops and he walks around and all the characters. It's very bad. And
so
like this is irking me so much because I feel like it could be a good concept, and I feel like the current trend in Hollywood is to take all these main cool concepts and tweak it for teens and stuff, or make it simple to understand, which is not true. Because I remember in school reading Girl Who Owns the City, where it's the same concept, where these kids are like in middle school and stuff, and a virus comes and wipes out all the adults, and she's like 12 years old, and she has to like protect her brother. And throughout the story, she develops a character, and she hoards her whole community into a school and actually makes a city. And she gets shot. She has to take it's really adult themes, and that shows me like it's possible to make adult themes to make it palatable and understandable for kids. So there's no reason for them to be as crappy with Daybreak as they are. So yeah,
where did it come out? Netflix?
It was Netflix. Yeah,
hit or miss Netflix.
That's a big miss. Well, people watched it, so, but yeah. I don't. And I wanted to make these comments on Twitter, but my friend was asking about the show, and I was like, "Oh, you mean Daybreak?" And the show was like, "Yeah, that's us." And I was like, "Oh."
They were going to clap back. Honestly, that could have been interesting.
I was
that
like,
would have been interesting.
So I had to like DM, like, "Yeah, no, the show's trash. Show's bad." But yeah. So, don't watch it.
Moral story.
Yeah.
Next time, DM them. Let them know. Put them in their place.
I'm going to send this video clip to them like the show's bad. But yeah.
All right. So the show that I watched was Living With Yourself with Paul Rudd. Basically, in this show, he gets frustrated with life, goes to a spa, and they illegally clone him. and his clone starts taking over his life. So the whole process was botched, where the clone was going to take over and the original self was going to be killed or discarded. He actually ended up surviving, and now he has to deal with the clone and how they go through life. It was good. I watched the whole thing in one night, so it kept me entertained for most of the episodes. Some of the themes do repeat themselves. Some of it's over the top, but it's Paul Rudd. And Paul Rudd, actually, he acted a lot better than what I thought he would be acting.
Oh, man.
Although in some instances it was just really cringeworthy because he went back to his old ways of doing stupid stuff.
Yeah, I haven't finished it, but...
So all in all, I would say it's worth checking out. There's going to be a second season. I kind of don't like how the season ended. It felt like it was forced on us. It almost felt like it only needed one season. So we'll see what happens if they get renewed for a second one. But shout out to Paul Rudd and his dolphin teeth. His teeth are really small.
Dolphin teeth. What?
Dolphin teeth. Okay.
So
his teeth are real small.
you watched you watched BoJack Horseman, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think of the first half of this season?
Really good.
Okay.
Really, really good. And BoJack's life is about to get messed up in the second part, so it'll be interesting to see. But the one thing I always loved about BoJack Horseman is that it's like it's an animated series, but it deals with real life issues very well. Like they know how to just like take things that are going on in everyday life and talk about them. And sometimes it's funny and sometimes it's dead serious. Like, and I really appreciate that they take mental health seriously. They take women's rights and all that other stuff seriously. Like it's like a what's it called when you not spoof something, but
homage.
No.
Reference.
No.
Satire.
Yes.
Parody. Oh, I was gonna say parody, but
it's definitely a satire of Hollywood. But they talk about real things. One of my favorite episodes was Princess Caroline. She has a baby and she has to like try to juggle work life with being a mom and all that other stuff. And I was like, yeah. And it's funny because they were like they're celebrating women who could do it all, but it's like, okay, well, I can't really do everything. Like my life is kind of falling apart. But it's funny that it's like, oh, if you're not doing everything, then you're not like a good mom or a good woman or a strong woman or whatever. And it was just really good. They know how to. I mean, it's so sad that their joint is ending because I feel like they can continue on. Like they really could. Their commentary on real life is so accurate and it's presented in a really good way. So do give it a watch. If you
That's a watch for
already.
me.
It's definitely a watch.
I might give it a gander.
Yes, please do. It's very good. Okay, it's up for questions.
Yay!
Okay, the first question. What is rocking your world this month? What is like doing something to you? What have you been loving?
This month?
Yes.
Two things rocking my world this month. It's not film related, but you know, I'm amped up for this NBA season. You know, like, look, if you're from Miami and you've watched football, the Hurricanes and Dolphins have been disappointing for a bit. More so the Dolphins more than anything else. So I even gave up playing fantasy football like this. I was like, my team is trash. I'm not even watching football. That's how bad we are. But, you know, NBA season's up, you know, Heat, you know, Tyler Hero, Kendrick Nunn out of nowhere, doing the thing. So happy. And then also the Atlanta United's in the playoffs. They got a game today. Hoping to catch that. But, yeah. I'm in a good mood sports-wise, so.
Oh, okay. I've been watching this YouTube channel. Her name is Shalyn Lester. Basically, she spills tea on celebrities because she was like a celebrity editor like of a magazine. But she also talks about like real life issues and like dating and self-esteem, friendships, family, all that other stuff. So she like takes she takes like the celebrities and what they're doing, and then she tries to find like applicable lessons for everyone else who isn't obviously living that lifestyle. It's so good because it like scratches that itch of like reality TV, but like it's not like reality because you're not like losing brain cells. You're actually learning something.
You're learning the tea.
Yeah, you're learning the tea, but then you're actually
You're
like
the tea.
Yeah, then you're sipping the tea, and then you're actually like creating your own tea. Not a drama, but just,
Oh, we saw them do that in The Lighthouse.
You're creating your own. Yeah, she's really, really good. She's funny. She's from New York. She reminds me of Amy Schumer. Maybe that's why I kind of like her. But I've been learning so much, and I feel super empowered, super like ready to like tackle the world and like be a fierce woman. So
give me some of the juiciest tea. I want to sip.
There's so many tea. There's so much tea. She said that Beyonce is actually really stupid. Now, I'm not trying to have the beehive over at me because I love Beyonce. This is what she said, and she got that from another source. So,
getting away.
Don't attack me. I don't know. She heard something and repeated it, and I'm just repeating what she repeated.
That she had a lot of honey in it.
So yeah, that's all.
That was so bad.
I hate it. I really tried to block that out because it was just like.
What about the whole? I know you were talking before about the whole Meghan Markle, Prince Harry stuff.
Is she really hurting, or is she just trying to get people to be on her side?
Okay, so here's my take on it. Now you can disagree with me if you want. I think they're actually really struggling with this, mainly because I feel like the issue is that they're really not trying to do what everyone else in the royal family is trying to do. They're trying to modernize it. They're trying to open it up and make it accessible to everyone. Mm-hmm. However, you have to understand that when you move to a different country and marry someone who's a different culture than you, you can't just assume that things are going to go the way you want them to or the way that you're used to. First of all, that's not how marriage works. But second of all, that's not how people work. Like, you have to actually like learn what's going on. Like, you got to learn the people, got to learn the culture, got to learn all the stuff.
It's not how royal hierarchy works.
Here's my thing. I understand they're struggling because honestly, the reporters have been really like, they've been going after your girl. And some people are saying it's racially charged, it's sexist, it's X, Y, and Z. And it's probably all of the above. Like, it really is. But y'all aren't the heirs to the throne. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not next in line. So you actually don't need to be in front of the cameras that much. You can actually take time, go behind the scenes, go live your life, go do what you want to do, be with your cute little baby. Like, where William and Kate don't have that type of freedom, they do. So the fact that they're continuing to be in front of cameras and talking about a lot of stuff and all that other stuff, it feels unnecessary because they don't need to be, they're not in the position where they need to do that. So yes, you're struggling, but you can also limit your struggle by not always being in everyone's face. When people don't see you that much, they don't have a lot to say about you because you're not in their view, like you're not in their viewpoint. People are going to forget. The news cycle is going to change. You're going to talk about something else the next day. So why don't you guys just like back off and just go somewhere? They're taking a break, but I mean, like, they're still in the public eye.
I thought they went to Africa.
They went to Africa, and then during the documentary, they talked about how they weren't okay and how Prince Harry can't stand the media and blah blah blah. The media, I'm just gonna say this because this is what I've heard. I think all they want is respect. Like, they want people to acknowledge that they're legitimate, like they're a legitimate business, even though they're reporting on other people's lives and not in wholly truthful ways. You know what I'm saying? I think they just need, I think if they were just like open with the media a little bit, they can manage it better because they'll be like, okay, well, this is a business partnership. Like, we can work, I help you out, you help me out. But because they're shutting everyone out and like, oh, you can't come to our christening and you can't take photos of me at Wimbledon. It's like, it's enraging them and it's itching them on to say more things.
I don't see it that way.
Oh.
I mean, to me personally, like, I understand Harry's viewpoint. Like, for him, it's a flashback of the issues he had to deal with his mother. And for him, that would be a triggering thing. Like, my wife is being disrespected and being treated the same way, which led to my mom's death, being chased by paparazzis and dying. So I understand his viewpoint on his life wanting to be but my thing is also a lot of the stuff about Megan has a bit of a racially charged tinge to it, which I think it wasn't like that before when they thought she was white. But once they realized, oh, her mother's black, and because they've only seen the mother, they haven't really seen the father, it becomes, oh, she's black. And, you know, the royal family is being corrupted in X, Y, Z. There's a lot of racially motivated things. So I'm
not saying whatever they're saying about her is right at all. Like, of course it's not. But I'm also saying that there was a theory out there, which I think I kind of agree with, that she was kind of because she's an actress, you know, by trade, like that's her job. So she knows how to like play things. So I'm not saying that she's like encouraging certain stories, but I also think that she wants to be out there. Like,
I kind of,
you know what I'm saying?
you.
Like,
yeah.
She wants the attention on some level. Now, the thing is that people like to be like, oh, I want the attention, but then when they get too much of it, they're like, no, actually, I just want everyone to leave me alone. Princess Diana did the same thing. The thing with Princess Diana, though, is she had relationships with the media people. Like, she knew the names, she knew the numbers, she knew the email addresses of the editors of this paper and that paper and the next paper. So she was constantly contacting them being like, hey, I saw you wrote this about me. Why did you write that about me? And they were having a dialogue. And most of Princess Diana's coverage was flattering for the majority of her life. Now, towards the end, it got bad because you can't have it both ways. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't try to control people and control situations. It's not going to go well. But I think what they're trying to do now is trying to get sympathy. Like, guys, our life is really tough. Like, ease off. And I don't think that's working out. I feel like the media is more enraged. And he sued them. He sued one of them. He sued the male.
And then right after he sued them, they started putting good stories out.
They're trying. I'm pretty sure they're not trying to get sued, but take a step back. That's my advice. My advice is just back off. I don't think they will, because I think she likes being in front and center. And I think Prince Harry is kind of just like, he's so in love with her that he's just like, okay, yes, I'll do whatever you tell me to do. Like, yeah. So I don't know. I'm kind of in the mindset of like, if I was in that family, I would just not even be I would just be like, yikes, you guys are, calm down.
Okay. So what's the other question we got?
What are you?
I didn't even answer that one.
I told you, I'm letting you know.
Oh, yes, please answer.
Oh, yeah.
So just to get back on track, the thing that's been blowing my mind this month.
It's Dale's fault. He asked me a question.
It's really my fault. I went deeper into that.
Yeah, you did.
You can cut that out if you want. Okay, good.
I like it. I'm gonna leave it in. Anyway, what blew my mind this month was the cooler weather, the cooler temperatures. I was able to get a full night of sleep, and it was only 6 hours.
Oh,
I was feeling refreshed.
Wow.
Refreshed.
Have you not been sleeping?
I haven't been sleeping well.
Oh.
But I love the cold season. Bring it on. Bring on the jackets. I look way better in the wintertime. All them sweaters and jackets and stuff.
And sweaters and jackets.
Yeah.
Fat boy fall. It was getting cold out there, ladies.
Hey, yeah, that's right.
You know, AC, not keeping you that, warm at night. You can't have a fireplace in your apartment. You know what it is.
You know what it is.
Who gonna keep you warm at night?
Exactly.
The big boys.
Hey, we're a built-in pillow heater.
Hey, we give good hugs. We keep you warm. Hey, what's good? Anyway. Hey, we let you rant about the royal family, okay?
You asked me.
Hey, so don't.
Okay, what event do you remember most fondly from high school?
Event?
There were a couple. I hated high school, but like some of them, part of it was good.
Event? Wow.
When I went to Chuck E. Cheese, that was interesting.
In high school?
We took a trip to Chuck E. Cheese.
Yo,
but that's not the event that I'm using. I just remember that happened.
Wow. Okay.
That was funny.
My experience in high school. Or was that middle school? No, that was middle school. My bad.
Okay. So, no.
I got one from elementary school. Since I can't really think of high school.
Okay.
It's not most fondly, but the one thing, because I kind of did a lot in high school, but I do remember an event. I do remember is I guess it was a senior prank, and I know most schools like either dissect frogs or cats. But our school we did squids, and so a bunch of people took the squids and put them in the air vent.
Ugh, gross.
So, yeah,
that's actually funny though.
yeah. So
Senior prom.
yeah,
Not senior. Junior prom. Junior
I
prom.
didn't go to prom.
Oh.
We didn't have prom at our school. We had banquets.
I hope they're not listening. Anyway, in senior prom, I went by myself. Ended up with like 2 girls by the end of the night, and they didn't know about each other. And
Whoa,
Smooth operator.
kind of F boy.
Smooth
it wasn't like
operator.
that. It wasn't like that. We weren't doing nothing adult. We was just talking, maybe kissing a little.
Okay. So
Oh wait, I didn't answer my question.
you said okay. You didn't answer. Okay, go.
Junior year, my choir went to Bahamas. That was an experience, like, but those were some good times, man.
So which is it? Is it the Bahamas or Chuck E. Cheese?
It's the Bahamas.
Okay.
That was a really good trip. Yeah.
All right.
Can I say my elementary school one?
You go ahead.
All right.
I ain't gonna
I had a
stop you.
friend. We were in a classroom, and there was one of those skeletons. My friend, he just stopped in front of the skeleton, right in front of the teacher. He looked at him, grabbed the skeleton's hand, and put it in his crotch, right in front of the teacher. And the teacher's like, "You got detention."
Oh, that's all
That easy.
That's all he got was attention.
That wasn't okay.
That was funny.
Yeah, it's not where you thought the story was
No,
going, right?
it wasn't.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna scare the teacher with it. No.
No.
Okay.
Good.
If you had to wear a T-shirt with one word on it for 1 year, which word would you choose? Lit.
Lit.
Okay.
I thought it was one phrase, so I had a whole phrase in my mind, but
If you
then
have
I
a phrase,
saw it
go
was
ahead.
a word, and I forgot it.
Go ahead. If you got a phrase,
I
go.
actually did forget it. One word. I don't know.
My word would be ambivalent or ambivalent.
Ambivalent.
Ambivalent. That would be my word.
Why? You want people to think you're an honorary guy?
No, because that's my personality for the most part. If it kind of happens, it's happens. If it doesn't, whatever. Like, okay, the best way to describe that word would be, you've seen Futurama,
Mm-hmm.
the neutral people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be best word. Yeah.
I think my phrase would be like, I know what you're thinking, and the answer is no. Don't know what it would be in reference to. Just I feel like that would be a funny phrase.
And the answer is no. Okay.
Okay.
I'd have Rush Hour 4 on my back.
Okay. See.
That would be your tramp stamp. Rush Hour 4.
Okay. Well, that's our pod.
What about our recommendations?
Oh, I already. Okay, I did mine. Sorry, I thought
What was your recommendation?
it was BoJack Horseman.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought that was going to be your review.
No.
Okay. All right. You gotta.
Dang. I recommend eating healthy and a good exercise.
My recommendation is, it has nothing to do with movies. It's get your body ready for Thanksgiving. Start doing smaller portions now. Start, losing, 5 pounds, until Thanksgiving Day. So when you put the 10 pounds back on, nobody can say you gained weight, because you really didn't gain weight. You lost weight, then you put it back on. So forward thinking. Or aim for 10 so you can prepare for Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. But yeah, that's my recommendation.
Yeah. My recommendation is don't go back for seconds that night or that day you eat Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
Save it
People
for
must not be cooking
leftovers.
well. I'm just saying.
The next day. No,
Yo,
it's good. I'm just
can't
saying,
wait for
like,
Thanksgiving. Like, I don't.
Thanksgiving leftovers, boy, when I tell you that hits in a different type of way, that's why I'm saying that. Like,
Can't wait.
that hits a different type of
Can't
way.
wait.
It does, and it hits good too.
It always hits good.
But anyway,
Anyway, I was just thinking about it.
thank you for joining us.
Y'all know I'm hungry. Okay, yes. Thank you.
Episode 15.
Ooh, we're almost at 20, guys.
Almost at 20.
Can't wait.
What?
said I can't wait.
Oh, I thought you said get paid. Okay. But yeah. Episode 15. Thank you for joining us. I'm Dale.
I'm Sandy.
And I'm Willem Dahoe. Damn ye.
Okay, bye guys.
Au revoir.